So the question is, what is coming down the pike in our next section that we'll be studying on Tuesday? We'll be going into the process domain, and we have 10 tasks to cover. Let's go through the tasks very speedily. This will also serve as a cheat sheet for those of you who are taking your exam in the next week or so. Make sure you have these topics down pat. Day number 1. This is develop an integrated project management plan and plan delivery. In the world of Agile, the way we do things is different. We have continuous refinement via events. In the world of predictive, integration is the project manager's core accountability. The project manager is the guardian of coherence across every subsidiary plan. You need to know the 10 subsidiary plans and the 3 baselines, scope, schedule, and cost, but we have many other subsidiary plans. We are going to be tackling these in the process domain. Moving over to the next piece of day 1, if you're going on to the exam in the next week or so, please make sure you revise the Stacy model and know when to choose predictive or agile, depending on whether you're in a complicated or simple environment or a complex environment. Know your change log, the different processes that you go through before making any change. Understand the difference between data, information, and reports, and understand tailoring. You gotta understand the project manager is the guardian of the scope. So when it comes to the WBS, you gotta understand decomposition and all of those levels in your WBS. The work package level at the bottom, control accounts, planning packages, all that stuff. You got to know them good. In the world of Agile, we have PBIs. So you got to understand the hierarchy of product, epic, feature, story, and task. These you cannot compromise. Make sure you know the product owner's role very well and the project manager's role real well. Remember that you need to get agreement on scope from your stakeholder. When it comes to the hierarchy, work package, control account, and all that stuff, the definitions of the WBS dictionary and the WBS itself, the 100% rule in the WBS, these are things you should be familiar with. Gold plating, and when we talk about scope creep being the overarching term and gold plating as one of the ways it could appear, that is important too. Going over to day 3, we'll be talking about helping to ensure value-based delivery. The mantra is if it's valuable, do it, and make sure you're breaking it down into incremental pieces of value for the customer. Delivery does not equal value, so you got to see what value is to the stakeholder. Make sure as much as possible you deliver that incrementally if you can. You got to understand terms like ROI, NPV, weighted shortest job first helps with the mindedness for some questions. And just know that the product owner prioritizes the backlog. Know the major ideas behind MVP, minimum viable product. Understand who the benefits owner is. Why do we have a benefits management plan? Why do we track benefits? What are benefits? What do we mean when we say value? Value is the net quantifiable benefit, so you need to know that. For your exam, I would definitely expect to see some MVP, minimum viable product, prioritization by value, never by volume or loudness, concepts like that. Day number 4, going into plan and managing resources, understanding the resource calendar, RACES, team self selection, pulling work to yourself in the world of Agile. When we talk about hybridizing these two ideas, you got to be able to fluidly move between Agile and predictive when it comes to planning and managing resources. In the world of Agile, we rely quite a lot on velocity, empiricism, whereas in the world of predictive, we plan a whole lot up front. Whereas in the world of Agile, we're doing it real time. We actually have the option of being more accurate if we break it down and do rolling wave planning. Planning and managing resources means understanding resource leveling, understanding that adding people to a struggling team will only make it worse, motivation and team health being key, and reducing scope first and extending time second, adding people as a last resort. Understand Maslow's, Herzberg, McGregor, and Vroom that we've talked about in the world of people, but also for the world of process, you got to know it too. Plan and manage procurement, getting into the idea of the different contract types, fixed price, cost reimbursable, time and material, all that stuff, and understanding the different terminologies RFP, RFI, IFN, IFB. All of these are things that are important for you on your PMP exam. Understanding formal negotiation cycles and also understanding negotiating tactics. Some of them are not that good, but being familiar with some of these negotiating approaches, if they appear in situational questions, you're going to know what to do with them. Understanding what we mean by best alternative to a negotiated agreement, BATNA, understanding the 7 Agile contract models, page 77 in the Agile Practice Guide could be helpful. And being able to match contract type to scope clarity, understanding what is most risky to the buyer and to the seller. Understanding fixed needs discipline risk management. In the world of Agile, we try not to go in that direction. We use flexible contract types. Day 6 is all about plan and manage finance. If you're going in for your exam, you got to know the earned value pieces, and that's why later on today we've got an earned value masterclass. Look out for it. You got to understand the different formulas, especially CPI and SPI, and not just crabbing the formulas, but actually knowing what they mean. Understanding net present value, ROI, all of that good stuff in the beginning of the project is important. Understanding the different budgeting types, rough order of magnitude versus definitive, all those terminologies could be helpful for plan and manage finance. Day number 7 will go into the world of quality, fitness for use, and conformance to requirements, customer satisfaction, understanding Kaizen and the cost of quality and the definition of done could be very helpful for you. Understanding that gold plating is always wrong, even if it exceeds requirements. Understanding Plan, Do, Check, Act. Knowing a little bit about Six Sigma, what it means, what that number means, 99.9997. Understanding the implication of it. Day 8, scheduling. You got to understand what exactly you're doing. They're really 6 steps. The PMI have rolled them into 3 in PMBOK 8. So you got to know forward passes, backward passes, slack, flow, leads, lags, crashing, fast tracking. If any of these sound like Greek to you, it's probably a sign that you need to be in our training to get these down pat, right? Understanding that in Agile we have a fixed time box, but in the world of predictive we have an elastic time box. What is fixed in the world of predictive is scope. What is fixed in the world of Agile is the time box and the team. So understand that. Understand that crashing costs money, fast tracking costs risk. Both only work on the critical path. Like if you're just working randomly on stuff, trying to crash them, and they're not on the critical path, it's a waste of time. Know your PERT formula, what exactly it means, precedent relationships, FS, FF, SS, SF, and understand what the numbers mean. SV, what does it mean when it's negative? What does it mean when it's positive? SV, SCV, SPI, CPI, what do all those numbers mean? SPI is 0.7, what does it mean in literal terms? Day number 9, we'll be going into the world of evaluating project status. So knowing your WPD, WPI, WPR cycle is important. Work performance data, becoming work performance information, becoming work performance reports. Understanding that in the world of Agile, the product owner owns the backlog, the team owns the sprint backlog, and understanding that status is continuously visible. We don't go off and make some crazy report like we do in other worlds. Like in the world of predictive, the project manager lives by those reports, lives by the status. So do the stakeholders. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's just a different animal. For your exam, understand percent complete is dangerous when estimated, right? So if you're not calculating it as a definitive number, it's just like vanity and not very helpful. Understanding that the retrospective data is not a formal distributive artifact that you share with everyone. If the team decides to share something in particular, it must be done with team agreement, team consensus, and every metric must link to a specific decision or action. On day 10, we'll be talking about managing project closure. So, understanding what it means to have administrative closure procedure. I'll show you part of the 6 step closure sequence you need to understand and the documents that you would use in administrative closure procedure to close out all those administrative tasks and paperwork. In the world of Agile, we're ready to close at any time. It's a bi-weekly ritual. In the world of those teams that do 2 week sprints, maybe it's a 1 week ritual for those of you who are in the 1 week sprint land. So it really depends on where you are, but the PMI is big on you understanding what it means to close a project. So those of you taking your exam in the next few days, understand formal acceptance must be in writing. Transitioning is a separate step from obtaining acceptance, transitioning the product to the customer or the result, whatever it is. The retrospective is a formal closure ceremony, not just a meeting. And understanding that the resources are released last in the world of predictive, never before the lessons learned. Always get what you're looking for from the team. All right, my friends, that's pretty much it. This is what is coming down the pike because lots of you are asking, but Phil, my problems are more in process. What am I going to do? Are you going to cover process? Absolutely. This is just giving you an idea of the syllabus. We're going to be starting this on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we'll begin with develop an integrated project management plan, and then we're going to move all the way through. So it's going to take about a week and a half, 10 days, right? Because we're doing weekends as well. So if you have not joined this channel, if you've not subscribed, do that because all these tough topics in process that make a lot of people fail the PMP exam, we're going to be covering them in a lot of detail. You don't want to miss it. All right, so smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye for now.